Hey all, it's your girl Tequila Shabazz with the Bridge Embassy for Black America, and we are here with Be Black TV presents The Hookup. We are being hooked up today by Miss Tay with Seaux Sew, and we are very, very excited to have her. She is a Houston native, our first out-of-towner, and when I say out-of-towner, we're located here in Chicago. She is in Houston. And so, as you know, with the Bridge Embassy, we connect with our people across the country and eventually the globe. She is going to tell us the history of how Seaux Sew started, where she is now, and how she's growing. We're going to discuss a lot about generational wealth with her daughter being involved. So we have a really, really, really dope show for you today. And of course, ladies, you know, we have dope designs by Miss Tay, and Mother's Day is coming up. So we're going to offer you a really sweet deal so that you can pick up some of those purchases. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce Miss Tay herself. Hey, Miss Tay.
Hey, how's everybody doing?
Well, if they could respond back, they'll probably be like, ooh, we doing good. And what do we see in the back? You know, right. So they be ready to go right into it. But let's start from the beginning, Ms. Tay. Let's start with how you started, you know, what Seaux Sew is, how it was birthed, and all that good creation story stuff.
Okay, well, I'm a creative person, always have been. My daughter, who's now 4 years old, she'll be 5 this summer. She was a heavy girl. Like, she was heavy. She was born heavy, and she was heavy up until she started, you know, thinning out. And so about maybe 11, 12 months old, I found it hard to find clothes that fit her. And I decided to just start making clothes, altering the things that she already had. And from there, I taught myself how to sew things for myself. And I sought out a lady who taught clothes, Miss Bentley, and she helped groom what I already knew. So that's how I got started.
Okay, but you know, you being real humble, right? You said that this how you got started, but you come from a family. Family of women that be getting down with the get down when it comes to, you know, making clothes. So talk a little bit about how you grew up and how you ended up having to actually take classes when you come from a family of women who sew.
My mother sewed. She has been sewing since she was about 14 or 15 years old. Her mother sewed. And my mom stopped sewing when I was maybe about 7 or 8, because she was undercharging people, and people would then ask for things, you know, all the time. So she really got burned out. And I never thought about sewing, you know, until I had my daughter. And at that time I was 25, 26 years old. So it came easy to me. It really did come easy to me. And I never thought about the fact that my mom sewed and my grandmother sewed. And so I had to take a class because my mother refused to teach me how to read a pattern. I don't normally use patterns for anything that I make. If I do use a pattern, very seldom will I use a pattern. I draft everything that I make. So that's the difference between my mom and I. For me, it's a natural thing. For my mom, she has to use a pattern because that's how she was taught. And believe it or not, I gave her a sewing machine for her birthday in March. So after about a almost 30-year hiatus, she's back sewing.
Really? Yeah. So you talk about using, you know, going freestyle, you know, versus using a pattern. What is the difference between the two for you? Because I know that you've taken some classes so that they taught you how to use the pattern, but you went back to just doing things kind of like freestyle.
Because I like to recreate what I see in the store. A lot of times designers don't have patterns for the things that they're selling in the stores. So I'll go to the store and kind of look at how something is made, and then I'll go home and play with my fabric until I get it, you know, until it looks the way that I want it to look. and then I'll draw it up, draw a pattern, and then cut it out. So a lot of the, you know, the not manufacturers, they make things that are easy for us to make at home, but the patterns aren't always fit for our body types. You know,
Right.
as African American women, we are a lot more voluptuous in other places than what a pattern calls for, and even with the mannequins. So it's
Yeah.
easier for me to draft my own.
Okay. And so tell us a little bit about your style. How would you define your style, or, you know, what kinds of things do you specialize in?
I'm a skirt girl, believe it or not. I spent 10 years almost 10 years in the army. And I was a tomboy, but I find myself wearing skirts and dresses a lot. And I have the girliest daughter ever. She refuses to wear pants. So, skirts with pockets and pleats, and dresses with pockets, and prints, African print, bohemian style. That's me. Anything that most people would not buy. You know, a lot of people stick with solid colors or solid prints. I like things that most people wouldn't buy. You know, I'm the person that'll probably walk around with a cow print skirt, or, you know, something like that, because it's not normal. I mean, you know, it's not the norm. It's out of the box.
Yeah, it's not something that you see everybody walking around with, and you're like me and a lot of people that run in my circle, we don't like to look like anyone else. So we do a lot of thrifting, and we do a lot of recreation of things. We mix and match and dare anybody say something because we still look fly, you know? So
Right.
I absolutely adore that. What are we looking at in the back of you right there? Those are a couple of your designs.
Yes, these are two pieces. This is a it's a skirt and a top. The back is kind of cut out, and very loose fitting. I'm not big on making things that fit tight to my body, just because, you know, the self-image. But I use a lot of African wax prints, and this is a mermaid fitted dress. So it's very fitted, and then it flares at the knee.
So do you do a lot of custom designs, or do you have kind of a basic standard pattern that you work off of and go from there?
I can do custom designs, you know, with enough notice. I can do custom designs, but for the most part, tops and skirts, dresses, skater dresses, long maxi circle skirts, those things that's what is in, you know, for right now. And I'm going to get into, you know, pants and shorts. Summer's coming up. So a lot of those things, those will be the standard things that you'll see me creating and offering to the public.
So is this something that, are you a one-woman army right now, or do you have some people that you're teaching or that work with you?
I have right now a 1.5 woman army. My daughter, I have taught her, like I said, she's 4. I've taught her how to cut out patterns. So she's finally learned how to cut a straight line. And if I'm using a pattern, she will cut the pattern and get the fabric and the coordinating thread, and everything will be nice and neat for me in a pile so that I can sew. She wants to learn how to sew. I'm going to start her off very slowly, because although she wants to learn, her attention isn't there yet. You know, she gets distracted, much like most creative people do. So she and I definitely work together, and we work good together. And I've been offering classes per se to people. I'm a talker, so I'll meet people in the fabric store and they'll ask, well, how did you do this? And I will literally, you know, I'll invite them to my home and give a class, you know, a basic class, not one that I charge. So I do a lot of just giving time when I'm teaching. I've ran into a 10 or 11-year-old girl, she wanted to make purses, and I showed her how to make little clutches that she can sell to the other girls at school.
Nice, nice. I want you guys to pay really close attention to what she's doing. First, number one, when we're talking about building wealth, we have to start with those basic things: food, clothing, shelter. So food, one of those things that we've moved away from is tilling the earth. And a lot of Black farmers that I talk about, they will say that it's kind of the PTSD to slavery, being out there and picking the cotton and doing things like that. And so we've moved away from some of those domestic tasks, such as growing our own food and making our own clothes. So it's really, really important when we find people like Miss Tay, who is creating her own clothes and then passing that wealth on, not only to her daughter, but people that she meets in the fabric store. That's a huge Give Black moment. And she is definitely reinvesting in her community. And while we're on the subject of reinvesting in community, Ms. Tay, let's talk about your accountability to the Black community. Who are some of the vendors that you may use, some of your favorite Black-owned businesses that you visit, and also, you know, how are you giving back time outside of showing young people, including your daughter, how to sew?
Well, I just recently discovered Houston is a big city, and before I fully decided to seek hours for fabric and thread and needles, things like that, I did find a lady who, Miss Carrie. She has an Etsy page, and it's More Love Mama. She sells African print fabric, and I loved her because I could literally go 10 minutes up the street and get the fabric from her after I ordered it. And then I recently found Miss Beth, who is she's from Nigeria. She's been in Houston about 30 years, and she has an array of wax prints, laces, all kinds of things, you know, that come from Africa. And she and I have set up a barter system almost. I'm making a few things for her in exchange for, you know, fabric and things like that. And I have, you know, a couple of vendors that I go to all the time for things outside of my craft. Kissed by a Bee. I am constantly getting things from her. My daughter has eczema very bad, and she, Kissed by a Bee, created an eczema butter. Works wonders for her. And then Sweet Talk & Co. is probably the reason why I'm going to have dentures, because I'm constantly buying chocolate covered strawberries and candy apples. The owner of Sweet Talk & Co. is a very good friend of mine, and I support her, you know, 100%. But as far as accountability, I am definitely putting myself in a position to make people aware. You know, I was on the phone just this morning with a lady telling her about, you know, Black-owned nail shops. She didn't even know that we had Black-owned nail shops in Houston. And, you know, so she and I are going to get together so that she can seek out more places that I frequent. My nails are not done. Normally, they're very long. My nail tech, Angel, wonderful woman, African-American. The shop is owned by a Black lady. So most definitely, you know, making people aware. My parents are probably the hardest people to try to get to understand why they should buy Black and give Black. So they're the first ones on my list to get them to fully understand why, you know, I'm doing this.
Absolutely. And then I also want to just give a real quick personal story between Ms. Tay and I. And she's part of the Be Black Academy, which is the Bridge Embassy. B stands for Bridge Embassy, amongst other things. But she contacted me very early on and said, how can I be more accountable? What are some of the things that I can do? So, you know, to be an active practitioner in my community, you know, and so she actively actively went and put together an inventory list, as we had discussed, and looked at the things that she purchased within the past 30 to 45 days, and went to intentionally find alternative businesses that she could patronize. So that kudos to Miss Tay for that. And definitely we love what we're seeing in the background. Tell us where we can find your work. Where would we typically find your work? Because you're in Houston, but I know that you have clients across the country. How can we find you?
I have a Facebook page. It's Minnie Lou by Seaux Sew Creative, and it's SEAUXSEW Creative. And Minnie Lou is one word. And then I have SewSewCreative.com, and my Etsy shop is Seaux Sew Creative as well on Etsy.
Okay.
And
So
Instagram.
On Instagram. So what we'll do is make sure that all of that is shared with people, so that they can go to your Seaux Sew Creative. They could go to Minnie Lou, and so that people are not confused, Miss Tay, Seaux Sew Creative is the umbrella company, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. So then under that umbrella, what companies do you have? What companies or subdivisions do you have of Seaux Sew?
We have Minnie Lou, which is the clothing / jewelry. And then my daughter came up with one. She wants to make clothing for little girls. So K Simone, which the names for that came from my grandmother, my mom, my sister, and my daughter. So
Wow.
yeah, I had to incorporate my girls. But so those things, most definitely, the little girls line will be African print, mainly African print skirts and dresses and things like that. She's excited to go to a school that she doesn't have to wear uniforms next year. So she's been picking out a lot of fabrics for me to be sewing this summer for her. So that'll definitely be out. And I'm not going to forget the guys. There are things in the works for men. Send me ideas. I'm definitely open to ideas, because I don't want to leave guys out at all.
Absolutely. And as you again, this is Seaux Sew Creative, and it's spelled S as in Sam, EAUXSW creative.com, where you can find everything through SewSewCreative.com. Does it link potential clients or customers to Minnie Lou?
Yes, everything it's all kind of there, but it'll eventually, the more that we grow and the more items that I create, the larger the subcategories will be. But since we're just, all these names came to me within a span of like maybe a month for Seaux Sew Creative and Minnie Lou, and then K Simone came about 4 or 5 days later. So I had to do something with them right away, But the more that I grow, you'll see, the different names for each.
Nice. And so right now you're really pushing Seaux Sew Creative. Is that correct?
Right now I'm pushing Minnie Lou. We're pushing that. It's everywhere.
Okay. And so the two items that we're looking at in the background are those Minnie Lou items?
These are Minnie Lou items. Yes.
Okay. So what's going to be some of the distinctive differences that we find between the different subdivisions? So you have Minnie Lou, which is, you said, jewelry and dresses.
Mm-hmm.
What will we find under K Simone?
That's going to be all girls.
Oh, all girls.
Hair bows, earrings, purses, whatever Kayla decides to create is what we'll do.
What age are you looking at?
Well, we'll do from probably about 9 months to 12 years old.
Okay.
And then as she gets older, it'll change a little bit, but the good thing is that I have a little cousin who's 10 months old. So hopefully I can kind of groom her to take Kayla's place once Kayla's a teenager.
Nice. Again, I want everyone to pay really close attention to the way that she is speaking. She is not just creating a business for herself right now. She is thinking of the generations that are following. She's setting that up, and that is so critical that we do that. What happens in our communities often is that we will build these enterprises. We've seen it time and time again. And then when it comes time to pass that on, we don't have our young people prepared mentally or with the skills necessary to take that position over. Our children typically will go out and work for some of the more quote unquote prestigious corporations, and we're not teaching our young people the power in entrepreneurship and doing for self. So I truly applaud you for doing that. And I'm going to open this up for questions. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask those questions. I know that right now you should be able to type in a question. If you are unable to type in the question in the box that should have appeared on the right side of the screen, then please feel free to do so in the event page of Google. If you're on YouTube, you can put that in the comments and we'll make sure that Ms. Tay is able to answer those. But I do want to tell you all about the goodies that Ms. Tay will be offering through Seaux Sew Creative. What do you got for us? What's the hookup?
So I'm offering 10% off of any purchases from now until May 31st. So, and keep in mind that, like I said, we're still growing. Dyes, bow ties will be coming out. Father's Day is coming up, so African print bow ties, solid prints as well. Skirts and dresses for the women. This doesn't include the custom orders, but most definitely, you know, your pleated skirts with pockets, without pockets, high-low skirts, crop tops, our basic.
Everything that you need, huh?
Right. Jewelry.
So tell us about your price ranges so that people kind of have an idea, because you said custom orders, and I want people to understand that custom orders take a little bit more time than what she already has in stock. So what do you have in stock? The skirts, the dresses, and the jewelry, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, skirts, dresses, jewelry. Most of the time, if there is, I have an array of different pattern selections. But if there is a certain pattern or something, you know, pattern that's on the fabric that they can let me know. But as far as price range, will go from about $8 to about $44, $45 is the most expensive of our in-stock items.
Woo, she got them down south prices. $8 to $45, you cannot beat that. Usually here for the designs that I'm looking at behind you, right? Are those custom designs that we're looking at behind you, or are those
custom design? The other is I make it all the time, you know, design.
So the black and white, can we see the back of that? Are you finished with that, or?
The skirt is pinned up, you know. I'm kind of a hippie girl.
Right,
So
right.
I'll turn the blouse around.
So we see when she lifts it up, you can see that the skirt is really nicely, well, in this case, she's going to fit you according to your own sizes, but it's not run in stock, like a small, medium, large thing, or how does that work?
I do have small, medium, large, standard sizes. And then on the website, there should be a way to let me know if you want a zipper or elastic waistband.
Nice.
But this top is it's a crisscross back, so I make these with crop top. So you know, it can be a crop top or it can be a little longer. I can add sleeves. You know, we can. There's a different These aren't up on the website yet. I got to put these up there. But if you want it, there's a way that you can send me a message letting me know that you want the top. But there's a few different backs that I can do.
Okay. So the backs, it could be just like a plain back, or it could be a crisscross back. What are your signature looks?
Teardrop back, kind of pleated, you know, where it's a little loose fitting. And my mom loves to have like the lace in the back. I don't know why, but you know, that's her thing.
Sexy. Because it is sexy. Mama trying to be sexy, honey. She's trying to be sexy. And lace makes everything, a little touch of lace makes everything sexy.
Right.
So the other piece that we're looking at, it is custom, right? So is that fitted, or
it's fitted to her measurements. And the custom pieces will run anywhere from $145 and up, because they do take a lot of time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And how often are you refreshing your inventory?
I'm still working a full-time job, y'all. So I'm trying to still incorporate, you know, sewing at least 4 times a week. So my plan is twice a month to refresh and change everything out. You know, I'll still offer the same classic looks, but the more that I learn, because I'm still teaching myself and I'm still taking classes, the more that I learn, the more that I will add to everything.
Got it. Got it. And I love this. Again, everyone, she is offering an awesome deal. You can go right to Seaux Sew Creative.com, and that's S as in Sam, EAUX. So SEW Creative, CREATIVE.com. You can go directly there and really check out her inventory. She is offering 10% off from this time throughout May. So right now, what we need to be doing, it's Mother's Day coming up, and you can purchase clothes. She said it, anywhere from $8 to $45, take an additional 10% off, and that's an exceptional deal. She also does jewelry, some really nice jewelry that falls under her Minnie brand, but you will get there through Seaux Sew. I did put the link in the event page for you all to find it. Again, that's SewSewCreative.com. Awesome stuff. I've been on the site. I plan on buying some stuff myself. And even with some of the custom things that she does, the starting price being $145, you cannot beat that. It's extremely important that we are supporting our entrepreneurs. We want to be able to take Miss Tay out of her full-time job right into this as a full-time occupation. And then not only is she doing it for herself, but she is also passing it along to her children. And I did get that question from Leslie Bentley. Leslie, that link is right in the event page where you posted the comments. Again, that is SewSewCreative.com. And we are extremely happy to be joined here with Miss Tay. Miss Tay, do you have any final words for our audience as we close out today with this episode of The Hookup?
I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Keep in mind that a lot of us do this, one, because it's our passion, and two, because our community needs it. You know, our community definitely needs us to continue to be able to provide these services to you. So just keep that in mind when you are frequenting, you know, Black-owned businesses. So we need you just as much as you guys need us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's very, very important that not only do we support Black businesses, but we support Black businesses that are supporting or reinvesting in our communities. It's about reciprocity. That's what we teach. That's what we practice. So what we want to do is go head over to Seaux Sew Creative, that is singular.com, and make sure that we're purchasing not for ourselves, for our mothers, for someone that we love. You know, peruse the site, check out her other site, spread the words. In the next 24 hours, whether you need her service or not, someone else may. It is our responsibility as practitioners and promoting our businesses to promote those that are reinvesting in our community. And Seaux Sew Creative is one of those businesses that are doing that. And I'm so happy that you guys joined us today, and we will be back, not tomorrow, but we will be back on Thursday with One Savvy Veteran. Speaking of veterans, which Ms. Tay said she was a veteran, we will be back with One Savvy Veteran, but thank you for tuning in today. This is your girl, Tequila Shabazz, and we're both out. Peace.